I'm going to show the imprint of my childhood as the son of a priest now, and I hope you'll indulge me with a biblical reference. In Exodus chapter 20, a version of the second commandment appears that reads, "You shall have no other gods beside me." That's the first part, which everyone knows. But there's a second part in which Moses tells why these other gods are prohibited. "You shall have no other gods beside me, because I, the eternal your God, am a demanding God, who visits the guilt of the parents upon the children, upon the third and fourth generation of those who reject me." A rabbi I consulted says that the central phrase in Hebrew in this passage is "Poked avan avot al banim," or inflicting the sins of the parents on their progeny. Now, this is the kind of thing that makes people roll their eyes at organized religion. Here's the idea that parents sin. First of all, sin. If parents sin, then their children and grandchildren should have to pay for what they do wrong. Isn't this vicarious guilt? Or collective guilt? When you believe, as we all do, in the cult of the individual, and in personal agency, and in the invention of the self, collective guilt is an incoherent notion. Things become even more untenable if you widen the interpretation of this phrase from an individual family to include the entire social group. When a generation commits evil, then future generations will pay for it. Absurd. The second commandment may have been the paranoid reflection of a desert prophet 4,000 years ago. But for some reason, the fate it predicts precisely has turned out to be the experience of Germany. Furthermore, the punishment of Germany is one that most of us tacitly approve. Germany pays and pays for the Holocaust, with no end in sight. And righteous Americans don't mind at all having a villain to whom we can dictate the ways that it should come to terms with its past. Like the death camps, the slave experience cannot be escaped, and it stands in American life like a great storm in memory. All generations will have to come to terms with it, and they will, whether they know this is happening to them or not. That's the punishment. What of the profit? The living descendants of slaves never felt the lash or shackles, so why should they profit from their great-grandparents' suffering? Interestingly, a key element of the